So the CERN, you just wrote something, your book called Concern, or your video book, but you talk about this and how the electricity and the mind and
it's not a book.
people.
It's just a short story.
Well, tell us about it, because it fits into this alien Stargate Pyramid tonight, since Dr. Semir Osmanagich got stuck on the plane.
It's about
Tell
time
us about
travel.
Well, that's what tonight's about, alien Stargate and our electricity.
I really know how to tell you about it other than it's a story about time travel, what's possible with time travel.
Yeah, but it's like what I'm talking about. In my mind, I heard it, folks, so I'm going to plug it for him because he's good enough to help me.
Just a
Concern on YouTube by Mad Painter. You're not a doctor, are you? You're a painter. By Mad Painter or T.R. Becker. Here, folks.
Yeah, it's just a short story.
Well, here,
we're at ACO Radio, American Communications Online, or any affiliated stations or websites are not responsible for what guest hosts or call-ins may say. All programming is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only.
Now, you could play your story, but we don't have it, right? We could, but we've only got 25 minutes. How long is that story? Because you're doing audio books.
About 30 minutes.
About 30 minutes, so it would be a little over.
I don't really know. I would have to go look to see, but it's roughly 30 minutes. It's just a short story. It's a string of short stories about a research corporation called Ether, about a future timeline.
Well, the person crosses over, and I know the part that interested me was somehow something electrically went from a piece of paper or something touched to the human, was it on the temples, and then they could think better?
No, she applied a way for an artificial intelligence to directly communicate with her mind through the what do you call it? Wi-Fi.
So she became like a cyborg, or like computer enhanced AI, or that was.
She let an AI into her mind, is what she does. She had direct access.
That's what I do. Because it makes me wonder about this electricity, how we, with a thought, can control going through a wormhole into another galaxy, and it can be a mirror of this, like the slit theory.
Elon Musk has got something called a neural link that they want to put in people's brain that'll automatically connect you to the internet. That's kind of what she was done in that story. But
does he use the neural link himself?
They haven't perfected it yet. He just bought the company out about 2 years ago. Chips, yes, but not. The neural link actually lays over top the outside of the brain. It's actually like a little net that connects different areas together of your brain, and it's really hard to explain. You'd have to go look it up, and it's still in the experimental stage. I don't even know if they've used it on people yet or not.
Well, let's write the alien Stargate Pyramids with Dr. Sam Osmanagich, because it has to do with the electricity in our bodies and us, that we're empowering this matrix in the three-dimensional world that's not a delusion or illusion, because we can feel it with our senses. We're here. And each person has their own observation.
Yeah, now a lot of people are concerned with this 5G because we are electrical, and here this 5G is, kind of transmits somewhere in the vicinity of what our brain works on.
Is that why my heart affects you can't hear me when I get it close to my heart?
I don't know. I'm not a I'm not a scientist.
Uh, okay, why not? Why don't you know everything? That's what this neural net is.
No, nobody pays me for this stuff. This is just my own thoughts.
Well, you're doing good. I wonder what Dr. Sam would say. We'll have to have him back, folks. I apologize to everybody. I hope you're not mad at me. I hope you understand. People are human, and even though we are all connected in some levels of electricity, are in the Akashic fields, which Dr. Sam and I like to talk about to each other off planet, in space, some of us can get on the same wavelength. What would you call that, Ahmad? You and I get that. It's kindred spirit kind of stuff. You just either like somebody
that's what
or
I call
you really
it, just
don't.
kindred spirit.
Yeah, we probably live past
Well, you can
lives
tell.
together.
You get a gut feeling about people. Usually when you first meet somebody, you get a gut feeling about them, and usually it's the right feeling. I mean, you can tell a lot by, listening to, I call it my gut feeling, but it's actually your heart chakra, from what I understand, but I don't know for sure.
Well,
I just call it my gut feeling.
Vibration from your, people talk with their heart.
Well, everything breaks down to vibration.
Yeah. The kids say get out of your brain or get out of your mind and get back in your heart, because when you start judging and thinking reality, you start postulating possible pros and cons or do's and don'ts or negatives, positives. But if you're just with your heart, you just feel and know. It's like be still and know, or let go and let God is the essence of life, that which is the divine spark and spirit in all of us. Is like we're all little raindrops that come down to earth and become part of the rain or hit the leaves and then go into little streams and then rivers and maybe lakes, and some come on down and Mississippi River and drain down to the Gulf and out to the oceans. And that's like it is with humans, this energy. The alien Stargate Pyramids and the human voltage, each of us, we're powering the planet with human energy, which sounds logical. However, because we can't live without it. It's just we haven't accepted it as a normal thought process in everyday life unless you're in the medical field. And even them inside don't like to get too wrapped up in the reality of that we are electrical charged batteries in our containers. Apparently Panasonic's going to look into it, battery charging. So we were going to talk about that with Dr. Sam. He's gotten to be quite the expert with the pyramids and the energy and the sound and the electricity of going with certain people and the energy 5 to 8 feet out. And we do talk about in our esoteric world, metaphysical world, the chakra balancing, or nowadays in the ascension age, they call it the ascension process of learning how to manage your energy through your kundalini in your nervous system up your back, spine, and it comes from the lower chakras, and we call them 7 in minimum, and that's the minimum. Again, we've gone to 10 so we can do interdimensional travel, but those are start at the base of your spine. You're basically where you sit on your derriere, and that we call that red, and that's why Ahmad mentioned chakras, but we use the 7 colors of the rainbow because we can see those, and the chakra balancing system, but we have chakra colors. And a lot of us have done the esoteric world and the metaphysical world, and we call ourselves metaphysicians. And we have made the American Communications Online group with the ACO Association and the UFO Secret Space by ACO Club and TJ Mars Agency, and TJ Mars ET Radio, which you're listening to now. We also share in the Cosmos radios, Blog Talk Radio. We have Cosmos Connection, Psychic Awakening with ACO Club. And the Teresa J. Mars Ministries is more about metaphysicians, conscious soul energy, and I discussed that once with Stuart Swerdlow, and everybody is working together as their own inter-battery container, how much energy. It's getting to be quite the trending thing with the Bosnian pyramids and bringing people from all over the world together to see what, they don't even have to speak to each other, whether they get in a circle and resonate and walk through the circle of the flower of life and getting their groups. And we like to put groups of 12 so we can make portals and stargates around the 13, and the fire can be the 13. And Jesus could be the 13, and the portals to the Stargate can be the 13. And CERN, how it works, the electrical process, when they fire up and split it, it goes into actually the flower of life. What did you call that, Ahmad? Was it the flower of life? Is that what you said? Sacred? You know, when it spins off?
Yeah, it's the Fibonacci sequence. It's the
Fibonacci,
flower of life.
Fibonacci, Fibonacci, Fibonacci. Now that's the Fibonacci spiral sequence in nature, and the golden spiral. Yeah, that's what you're talking about. So there's a set of numbers, and we use those with Dr. Sam in our metaphysical world, our ACE Metaphysical Institute, our Invisible College. So the Fibonacci spiral is a set of numbers that sparks with 1 or 0, and that's followed by the rule that's based on that each number in this sequence is called a Fibonacci number, is equal to the sum of the preceding 2 numbers. All right? And that's called the Fibonacci spiral, or the golden spiral, in a logarithmic spiral. So interestingly enough, it's used in everything in nature, in golden spiral. So what is this Fibonacci spiral? We see it in the galaxy.
It starts with 1 and 2 equals 3. 2 and 3 equals 5. 5 and 3 equals 8. 8 and 5 equals 13. It just keeps climbing.
And they have the shape and spiral galaxies. And NASA uses projects with the Fibonacci sequence, watching the number, adding up the 2 numbers before it. So starting, like you said, 0, 1. It goes 0, 1, and then 1 and 1 is 2. 1 and 2 is 3. 3 and 5 is 8. 8 and 13 is 21. And 21 and 13 is 34. And it keeps going, like Ahmad said. Now,
if you plot it on a square chart with boxes equally to that that figure, it creates a spiral.
Okay, so we have different squares, a geometric square, and the sum of the previous 2. Isn't that interesting? So 2 times 2, and then 3 times 3, 5 times 5, 8 times 8, 13 times 13. Now, that's interesting that it works with the connection and the nature of the world. And we also see that in a nautilus shell, which I find, I've used that in some of my little movies or little things I make, the nautilus shell. And in a spiral galaxy, how a spiral galaxy, and then that was in the park that I had in this other conscious world, how I time traveled. So I'm a galactic spirit, I guess. And it's a logarithmic spiral, golden ratio of numbers of the Fibonacci sequence. So you can walk that forward and backwards to increase or decrease energy. And so they've learned that the golden spiral is used in quarter circle arcs, and it's inscribed in squares of the integer Fibonacci number side, some for square sizes. So they use that. You can look it up on Wikipedia, folks. But it's, let me see if I can find Fibonacci spiral. And this is what we're going to be talking about with the universal terraforming of planets and galaxies with the alien Stargate, and how we can appear to appreciate nature once again and the infrastructure of our consciousness evolving